Hey there, and welcome to this week's edition of The Wrap. You know what South Africa definitely does not need? Another political party. Yet, that's exactly what Floyd Shivambu is offering South Africans after a dramatic press conference today. Meanwhile, his former friend, Julius Malema, has been denied a visa to the UK. Yikes. In international news, you've heard Israel is locked in another bloody war, this time with Iran. But why now? We break down how Netanyahu's political survival is linked to creating ongoing conflict. In our global brief, some more movie mogul Tyler Perry faces serious accusations. We take a look at the deadly Air India crash, why Will Smith's new album doesn't slap, and a promising HIV prevention shot that could change lives. Now let's dive into these articles and more in this week's wrap, brought to you by myself, Verashni Pillay, and the Explained Akosa team. In your national news, South Africa's cabinet spent over 200 million rand on travel since July 2024. Action South Africa recently dropped this bombshell after months of using their allocated questions in Parliament to hold ministers to account. Some didn't even bother responding, and others, like John Steenhuisen, dragged their feet. Action South Africa is proposing a bill to curb ministerial spending. We love that the fragmenting of political power is leading to this kind of accountability. Mamelodi Sundowns are on a roll at the FIFA Club World Cup. Mamelodi Sundowns are on a roll at the FIFA Club World Cup. They beat South Korea's Ulsan HD 1-0 yesterday in Florida, topping Group F for now and pocketing a cool 36 million rand. The month-long Club Cup is a precursor to next year's FIFA World Cup between nations. It's been newly expanded to 32 top clubs from across the world. Next, Sundowns take on German giants Dortmund on Saturday. Cue nail-biting. The death toll from the Eastern Cape floods has risen to 92. Devastatingly, 31 of those were children. Heavy rains since last week have displaced thousands, and rescue teams are still at it while aid's being rolled out. Government and NGOs are scrambling to help, but it's a stark reminder, as we've written before, that we need better infrastructure to handle these disasters, or it's just rinse and repeat. South Africa is racing to finalize a trade deal with the US before 9 July. That's when Trump's Freedom Day tariffs will kick in across the world. South Africa's tariffs are temporarily at 10% and set to triple to the original 30% announced before Trump backed down to give countries time to negotiate. Our proposed deal includes duty-free quotas for cars, steel and aluminium, plus a joint mineral funds and boosted gas LNG imports. Julius Malema's UK visa application was denied. According to a leaked letter, he is not allowed into the country thanks to his extremism. This includes public support for Hamas and past remarks about slaughtering whiteness. The UK's Home Office added in the letter that future attempts are likely to be refused too, and there was no right of appeal. It must be a shock for Malema that words do in fact carry consequences. In your international news, things are getting dramatic off-screen for Tyler Perry. Actor Derek Dixon accused the Medea creator of sexual harassment and workplace abuse in a new lawsuit filed last Friday. Dixon alleges Perry made unwanted advances and retaliated when he did not respond. He's asking for $260 million in damages. Perry's lawyer slammed the suit as a shakedown and said that Dixon had set up a scam. The case includes alleged flirty messages from Perry. Last Thursday, an Air India passenger plane tragically crashed after taking off in Ahmedabad, Western India, killing 241 passengers and crew. Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, a British national, was the sole survivor. At least 30 people were also killed on the ground as it crashed into a hostel. Tata Group, which owns Air India, said it will give around 2 million rand to the families of each person killed in the crash, both on board and on the ground. An investigation is underway. Critics are not impressed with Will Smith's first full-length album in 20 years, based on a true story, as it's called. Pitchfork called it corny, while Rolling Stone found it cringy and clunky. Smith says his infamous 2022 Oscars slap of host Chris Rock was a turning point. The backlash apparently led him to confront his addiction to approval and explore deeper truths. That inner work inspired the album, and maybe the reaction to it too. The anti-Trump demonstration in the US on Saturday could have made history. An independent data journalist, G. Elliott, said that between 4 and 6 million people took part, potentially surpassing the 2017 Women's March, which held the record previously. The No Kings demonstrations was held in over 2,000 cities to coincide with Trump's birthday, which itself happened to coincide with a military parade at his behest in Washington, D.C. Is there any page he's not taking out of the dictator playbook? A game-changing HIV prevention shot got the green light in the U.S. The injection was approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Wednesday. It only needs to be taken twice a year, but it costs a whopping $28,000 a year in the U.S. Researchers say that price can be lowered to just $25 per person per year. Winnie Byanyima, UNAIDS executive director, said if this game-changing medicine remains unaffordable, it will change nothing. In your big stories, Floyd Shivambu wants to know if he should start a political party. That was the upshot of his dramatic press conference today, capping months of tumult for the politician, formerly of the EFF, formerly of the ANC Youth League, and probably soon to be formerly of the MKP party. We told you a few weeks ago about Floyd Shivambu's demotion from MK Party Secretary General to ordinary MP. Zuma then slammed him without naming him at a Youth Day address on Monday. Things were not exactly easy before then, with reports of plenty of clashes with other people in the party, chief of which was MKP Princess, aka Zuma's daughter, Duduzile Zuma Sambudla. Now, just months after dramatically quitting the EFF to join Jacob Zuma's MK party, Shivambu is teasing the idea of starting his own political outfit. In a press conference at a Midrand hotel this afternoon, Shivambu said he'll be going on a listening tour to consult ordinary South Africans, plus a few big names like Irvin Khoza and Patrice Motsepe, about whether the country needs a new political party. He insists it would not be a personal project, but a people-led initiative that avoids the traps, he says, plagues today's world. He was fired as MKP Secretary General earlier this year, ostensibly because of an unsanctioned visit to fugitive Shepherd Bushiri's church in Malawi. At his conference today, he linked his removal with false accusations that he was trying to oust Zuma and dabbling in witchcraft. As we said, it was dramatic. Shivambu now says he won't go back to the EFF, calling it a cult, nor the ANC. Instead, he's trying to carve out a new lane, claiming he's learned more under Zuma than in a decade with Julius Malema. Ouch. The latest pivot may be less about public demand and more about political survival. As we noted earlier this week, Shivambu has made a habit of burning bridges, and it's unclear whether voters want another new party or just leaders who can get their act together. In international news, the Middle East is on fire again. Last week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu launched a military offensive on Iran dubbed Operation Rising Lion. The strikes have so far wiped out the top echelon of Iran's military command, damaged its nuclear capabilities, and killed hundreds of people. Meanwhile, Iranian retaliatory strikes have killed at least 24 civilians in Israel, Reuters reports. Today brought fresh news that Israel had bombed nuclear targets in Iran, and Iranian missiles hit an Israeli hospital overnight. So why now? Officially, Israel says it's trying to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Iran has also been bankrolling groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, who've been thorns in Israel's side forever. But critics are not convinced that's the only reason. Netanyahu's political survival has increasingly relied on whipping up security threats. He is facing multiple corruption charges that could lead to prison time, plus a reckoning with his own failings ahead of the October 2023 Hamas-led attacks on Israel. His ruling coalition is also extremely vulnerable, narrowly surviving a vote to dissolve the parliament and trigger elections last week. Analysts say he's used military campaigns before to distract from legal troubles at home and rally support. But Arab Israelis and international observers have raised alarm, accusing Israel of violating international law and risking a wider war. The huge issue now is if the US will be drawn into the conflict, dramatically raising the stakes and creating global repercussions. Trump seems to relish keeping the world guessing, saying yesterday nobody knows what he will do. Previously, he went from proposing a swift diplomatic end to the war to suggesting the United States might join in. On Tuesday, he mused on social media about killing Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, then demanding Iran's unconditional surrender. Asked yesterday whether the US was getting closer to striking Iran's nuclear facilities, Trump said, "I may do it, I may not do it." An Economist YouGov poll conducted over the weekend revealed that 53% of voters who backed Trump in the 2024 presidential election do not want the country to join in Israeli strikes. Will Trump listen? In sport, South Africa's men's cricket team have finally gotten their mojo back and once and for all shaken that pesky chokers label. Under sunny skies at Lord's on Saturday, South Africa won the ICC World Test Championship for the first time, beating Australia by 5 wickets. Aiden Markram's sublime 136 anchored the chase of 282, breaking a decades-long silverware drought. Social media erupted, Rassie Erasmus and former players led the cheerleading. This could finally be a glorious return to form after decades of letdown. Captain Themba Bavuma said, "We've created history, but as a group we'd like to emulate, if not do better than what Graeme Smith and his team did. They set the standard. I don't think anyone has reached that standard as of yet." He's talking about Graeme Smith, where South Africa twice lifted the Test mace in 2012 and 2014, but this was before the World Test cricket format was introduced in 2019, News 24 reports. With a team of superstars that included Jacques Kallis, A.B. de Villiers, Dale Steyn and Hashim Amla, Smith's group established himself as the world's premier red ball outfit. Bavuma said his team has drawn inspiration from the Springboks, praising their ability to embrace what being South African actually means. He said the Proteas also want to offer the nation a chance to rejoice, to kind of forget about our issues and really come together. We'll toast to that. While our sporting mantra, no DNA, just RSA, flooded social media after the win, the question is whether these wins are enough to keep uniting the nation. We wrote about that on our site, if you're keen to ponder with us. And finally, over 60% of African countries are facing possible, total or partial bans on entering the US. This follows a leaked memo showing the Trump administration is considering adding 36 more countries to the 12 they banned earlier this month. 7 more countries already face partial bans. The new and proposed lists are disproportionately aimed at Africa. Trump's original listing banning 12 countries, which is currently in effect, contains 7 from Africa. The new list of 36 includes 24 from the continent. This bizarrely includes major powerhouses on the continent like Nigeria and Egypt. South Africa has been spared. 3 of the 7 countries that are currently partially banned are from Africa. This brings the total number of African countries currently or possibly facing some sort of ban to 34 of the continent's 54 countries. But what are the bans? They're basically a restriction on visas. A full ban means if your country's on this list, you're pretty much barred from getting any US visa, tourist, student, work, or immigrant. No entry, period, unless you've got a rare exemption like being a diplomat, a US citizen's immediate family, or serving some big US interest like for the 2026 World Cup. If you're already in the US with a valid visa, you're safe for now. The ban does not revoke those. But if you're outside and applying, tough luck. Your applications got tossed starting 9th June 2025. A partial ban for these countries, it's not a total shutdown, but a squeeze. You can't get permanent residency, which are green cards, tourist visas, or student visas, but some work visas might still be okay. Visas issued here are shorter, so companies hiring from these places are worried, especially in tech, healthcare, and universities. Note, the 36 new countries are not banned yet. They face potential full or partial bans if they don't fix vetting and screening issues within 60 days. According to the leaked memo, the countries had received a deadline that passed yesterday to shape up or face restrictions. The memo's cagey about specifics but flags problems like weak passport systems, high visa overstays, or not cooperating on deportations. This ban's crafted to dodge court battles that tripped up Trump's first-term bans. It's got specific exemptions and justifications, but immigration lawyers are gearing up for lawsuits anyway. Chad's already retaliating by suspending their issuing of US visas, and others might follow. That's it from us at The Wrap, an award-winning product of Explain.coza. Simple news summaries for busy people. Remember to share the love. Tell your friends to sign up at Explain.coza/subscribe. Till next time, goodbye from the team.